There's a secret language that's used by banks and government contracts that keep you from getting access to business credit and the best deals, projects, bids, and contracts. In this video, I want to share with you the truth about NAICS codes, what you can do to make sure you set them up the right way, and how having the wrong industry classification is keeping you from dominating your niche and your industry. So when you're setting up an LLC, there's a couple of different components that make up a structure of an LLC that keeps you from getting access to credit, that keeps you from landing contracts specifically on the government contracting side. And then it also keeps you from scaling the capital that you already have access to. You have the industry name, you have the industry, or you have the address, or rather, not the industry name, you have the business's name, you have the business's address, you have the business's phone number, business's email, the basic criteria that it just takes to run a business, right? Which are things that you should have in place anyways. But there's one thing in particular that either puts you into the right bucket, meaning people, financial institutions want to lend you money or want to work with you and want to transact with you, or it just keeps you on the outskirts in feast or famine mode. And that's this: you have what's known as industry classification codes. And so it breaks down the following: you have NAICS codes, which are 6-digit numbers. And then you have SIC codes, which are typically 3 to 4 numbers. Now, they're essentially one and one the same in terms of how they're used. So if you ever walk into a bank, there's a section inside of the business credit application, whether you're applying for a term loan, an SBA product, if you're applying for a business line of credit, and that's going to be the NAICS code. You also see this on the top right-hand corner if you file your taxes, or if and when you, like, you should be filing your taxes, but if and when you file your taxes and you're set up as an LLC, on a Schedule C, on the top right-hand corner, there's a box. There's 2 boxes. You have one that has your EIN, and then there's another box that has your industry classification code, and that's where your business is bucketed. So there's a couple of different things different things that you want to take into consideration when you're selecting the right industry code. It's going to put you into 4 different categories if you don't select the right industry code. The first one is going to be a restricted industry. This means that financial institutions, banks, credit unions, contracting agencies, they're going to see you as a liability, meaning we don't want to do business with you, or we just flat out don't want to extend any type of contracts to you, whether this comes in a form of funding, in a form of a credit line, in a form of being a partner with them. And so this is something that you want to stay away from. The second type of risk of how a business is bucketed is going to be high risk. Now, I want to clarify something about high risk. Here's why. We've worked with clients when we're helping them put funding systems into place where, even though they have a high risk business, or at least it looks like it's categorized as a high risk industry, people automatically assume, well, you're automatically denied for business credit. You're automatically denied for contracts. That's a yes and no answer. And I want to give you context on why this is. Even though you have a high risk industry, that doesn't mean that the business as a whole is fraudulent. And it doesn't mean that the business as a whole, you're doing anything illegal. It just means that based on where the economy is, both at a macro level and at a micro level, the likelihood of either the business defaulting or the possibility of a business not collecting all the cash that they're used to collecting, so there's more of a dip inside of that industry, it's just a bit higher than what the normal standard is. That's all that is. So if I had to break it down into more layman terms, I'm going to use trucking as an example. If, let's say, you're in the trucking industry and all of a sudden throughout the country, there's 100,000 layoffs across different corporations, across different, across different companies, right? The classification of a trucking industry is going to go up, meaning it's going to seem more volatile. That's where you see contracts start to slow out. That's where you see lower funding approvals. And that's where you see it get a little bit harder to get access to the capital that you need. Now, that does fluctuate because you'll have pockets. And I can say this because about 3 years ago, we were working a lot with trucking companies where they needed access to capital for things like equipment. And we still do help them out. But we just found that that industry as a whole is taking a hit. Now, again, that fluctuates. And so the pendulum swings in the opposite direction. And so in the next, let's say 12 to 24 months, if the economy gets better specifically for like your industry, you'll see that start to shift, and then you'll see those approvals start to come back up. The third type of risk is going to be low risk. And so this is where you start to see a lot of what we call like the juice for the squeeze starts to come out. So this is where you see more frequent funding approvals. This is where you see higher funding limits, and this is where you see more contracts start to flow to you as the business owner. And this means that your business is seen as a low risk of a default. Your business is seen as more stable. Your business is seen as a potential partner that other companies are going to want to do business with. This is fantastic, but I don't just want to stop it here because I don't see too many people talking about this, at least that I've seen. And that's going to be the fourth realm or the fourth category, which is although low risk category, you can still get access to capital. Although high risk category, you can still get access to capital. You can still do good business. The final type of category in the bucket is where I love for my clients to live in. And this is really where we start to push them into, where we're helping them restructure and re-strategize and reposition their business. And that's the following. You want to try to get your business into what's called a preferred industry. This means that if you walk into a financial institution, this is how you would figure this out. You walk into a financial institution and you want access to a $100,000 business line of credit. Let's just kind of play with simple numbers here. You're going to know if you are in a preferred industry because they typically do business with your line of work. Your industry classification, so your NAICS code, isn't being screened by government contractors, by your state, by your city, municipalities, by the banks as a high risk industry. So now you have almost like 2 points there. And then on top of that, the way that your business is presented with either the cash that is bringing in or the projected revenue is one that they do want to essentially partner up with and extend capital out to. Now, I know this because this is one of the things that we help our clients do with their businesses day in, day out, where we help them install simple funding setups. By the way, if you need help with any of this, where you're looking to get access to capital in a predictable, sustainable way, book a call with us down below. We'll take a deep dive into your business and see how we can help. Now, I do want to leave you with this last thought here. How do you know if you are in a high risk business, if you are in a low risk business, if you're in a preferred industry? Well, it's really simple. I'm going to give you, there's a couple different ways that we do it with our clients, but I'll give you the easy back of napkin way that you can do it. Number one is if you've been trying to get access to business credit now for a couple of months or a couple of years and you keep getting denied or you keep getting weak limits, I'll put like an asterisk on that, or I'll put like context. Let me add some color. If every time you get an approval for a business line of credit or a business capital, it's under 20K, you're most likely considered high risk, or your business isn't set up correctly, all things being equal. That's the first gauge, the first meter that you can look at. The second meter that you can look at is if you walk into a financial institution, whether it's a bank or a credit union, and you ask them, what type of business have you been partnering with over the last 60 to 90 days? And then they'll tell you, oh, over the last 60 to 90, they're a sharp business banker, of course. They'll tell you, over the last 60 to 90 days, we've been partnering with education companies. So we've been partnering with maybe food industry. So we've been partnering with food trucks. We've been partnering with catering businesses. We've been partnering with restaurants. This is something good that you want to know because that'll let you know, oh, they've actually been extending capital out to my line of work or my business. If you see that the top 3 or 4 businesses that they've been, again, extending capital out to, proven for credit lines, isn't your industry, then you know one of two things. Number one, you may have to restructure your business as a whole so that it fits into that low or preferred category so that you can scale the capital that you're looking to get access to scale the business. Or number two, you may have to go into another financial institution altogether because preferred industries are based on what the financial institution is doing in any given moment. And this, by the way, changes every quarter, which is one of the things that we constantly keep ahead of the curve with our clients. So this way, they're never missing a beat. So if you want help with any of this, if you want us to take a deep dive into your business, book a call down below. But other than that, appreciate you guys checking us out. Till next time, everyone, I will see you in the next video.